Welcome to the debut episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast with Lee Burt. I am your host, Lee Burt. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning and there's plenty of things to talk about in the world of professional wrestling today. We should probably start by saying, finally, the Macho Man Randy Savage is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Long overdue. Ooh yeah, the Macho Man! Was very pleased to see that show up in my Facebook feed yesterday. I didn't get to watch Raw live last night because of the national championship game between Ohio State and Oregon, so I'm a little late on the celebration, but we will celebrate nonetheless. It's only a shame that Randy isn't still around so he could celebrate his induction into the Hall of Fame in Santa Clara, WrestleMania weekend. It'll be interesting to see who joins Randy in the Hall of Fame this year. There are plenty of guys that still deserve to be there that haven't quite made it just yet. Hoping they can eventually work things out where Owen Hart can get in there because he definitely deserves it. I guess we'll see what happens over the next few months leading into WrestleMania. In other news, SmackDown has decided to move back to Thursday nights starting this Thursday. That's pretty exciting because I'm usually busy on Fridays, so it'll be much easier for me to catch SmackDown and stay up to date so I can update all you guys. It was announced on Raw last night that Daniel Bryan will actually be wrestling this Thursday night on SmackDown, and Stephanie has put him in a match with Kane, the big red monster. It's really good to see Daniel Bryan back. I know there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether he would be back in time for WrestleMania or actually whether he would even be back at all, so very glad to see him back. It seems like a lot of the injured guys have made their way back to the main roster, which is great news and makes things a little less predictable going into WrestleMania season. Roman Reigns is back, and obviously the WWE thinks very highly of him, and Daniel Bryan's back, and Bad News Barrett is back and is actually the new Intercontinental Champion. It'll be interesting to see how long he holds on to it and how they're going to go about bringing back Dolph Ziggler and Ryback and Eric Rowan, since Cena couldn't get the job done last night and fell to the dastardly Seth Rollins. I really enjoyed that last segment on Raw between Seth Rollins, John Cena, and Brock Lesnar, especially with Paul Heyman. He's such a great promo. I think they're going to do really great things at the Royal Rumble match in the Triple Threat. And they have a lot of options there. If they want to get the belt off Lesnar before WrestleMania, that would be the perfect time to do it. They could do it without hurting him. He doesn't have to get pinned or submit to lose that championship. It's looking like we could have a bout between Roman Reigns and the Big Show at the Royal Rumble also, which could potentially be good. Not really a fan of the way the Roman Reigns promos are going. I think they're a little bit cartoony. I think he was probably exposed more by the Shield breakup than the other two guys. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose have been able to hold their own, but Roman's just kind of had a string of bad luck with the injury and everything, and we'll just have to wait and see if Roman still gets his moment at WrestleMania. I figure if the fired talents can get themselves back in time for the Royal Rumble, Ryback will probably have a match with Rusev. That seems like the logical thing. Seems like what they've been building up over the past few weeks. Truthfully, I wish they would have done a slow build with Jack Swagger and let him be the one to defeat Rusev. I think that would have really been a shot in the arm for his career. Haven't really seen much of him lately. Kind of glad to see the tag team titles back on the Usos. It's refreshing to me to see a tag team that's actually a tag team and not just a couple guys thrown together that creative didn't exactly know what to do with. I'm also digging the fact that the Ascension are working primarily squash matches. I think that's a good way to build them up without hurting any of the other talents and without rushing things, because obviously I believe their main goal is to get those titles on the Ascension. Not really crazy about all the Road Warrior demolition comparisons. I think it would have been better just to let them kind of do their own thing like they were doing in NXT. I'm anxious to see who their first real feud is going to be. It might be nice to have them get in some more matches with The Miz and Mizdow before Mizdow eventually turns babyface. I figure that's going to be a pretty cool moment when that happens, because he's totally over with the crowd. I kind of wish they wouldn't have split Harper and Rowan up. I think that they could have done some more great things as a tag team. I'm excited for all the UK fans. You guys are finally going to be getting the WWE Network this coming Monday. I know you've been anxiously waiting for it, and trust me, it's well worth the wait. I'm a day one subscriber. Maybe they should offer you guys the first month free since things didn't go down the way they were supposed to on the original launch date. I think that would be a cool thing for them to do. Speaking of WWE Network, they've just added some new content. They have uploaded the first season of Tough Enough. It's actually pretty fascinating. I never got to watch it when it originally aired, so I had myself a little mini marathon last night. I think I'm about halfway through the season. Really enjoying that. I really wish they would produce some more episodes of the Legends of Wrestling. I'm just a big fan of a bunch of guys getting around reminiscing about, things that have happened in their careers and sharing stories with each other. To me, that just is really great content. What do you guys think about TNA wrestling? That's total non-stop action for those of you with your minds in the gutter. Clean those dirty thoughts up. TNA Impact Wrestling has just recently moved to Destination America. Caught the debut episode last week. Thought it was pretty good. The biggest difference I could tell was they've really scaled back their production as far as lighting and things like that. Good to see Awesome Kong back, or the Amazing Kong, or Karma, depending on where you know her from. She didn't get much of a run in WWE, so it's good to see her back in TNA, and hopefully she can do something with that Knockouts division. I like the fact that she's different, kind of like the anti-diva, or anti-knockout in this case. I definitely thought the best thing on the debut show was the main event between Bobby Lashley and Bobby Roode. I listened to a Dixie Carter interview, and she's actually saying that there's going to be more changes made once they can start doing the shows, have more time for post-production. They're going to have more backstage type things and kind of opening up the curtains a little bit, letting you see behind the scenes. I think that should probably be interesting. I guess Friday we'll see how that's going to play out. News from the lockdown tapings is that Jeff Hardy took an insane bump off the top of the steel cage, landed on some steel steps, and kind of banged himself up pretty good. So hopefully Jeff Hardy is okay. He's always been a daredevil. I'm really glad that TNA found a new home on Destination America. I would hate for him to go under. I think it's best, the more wrestling companies you have, the more options the guys have that want to go somewhere else to work. And hopefully, we can get something built back up to the way things were when the Monday Night Wars were going on between WWE or actually WWF at the time, and WCW. As a lifelong fan, those were the best times in professional wrestling. I really enjoy watching the Monday Night War on WWE Network. I think they do a great job covering kind of both sides of it. It is a little bit more WWE heavy, obviously, because whoever wins the war gets to tell the story of the war. But it's actually some pretty fascinating programming. And hopefully, one day we'll have some more competition like that to really get those creative juices flowing between the companies. Speaking of new companies, I've got to tell you guys, I am pretty much blown away by Lucha Underground. I am becoming a big Lucha Underground fan in recent weeks. I love the fact that it's only an hour long. I think it has a very fresh look to it. It took a while for the backstage segments to grow on me because it's just so different from what mainstream wrestling has been for so long now. Those vignettes kind of remind me of something like an old Van Damme movie like Bloodsport or something. I think it's actually pretty cool. I'd encourage you guys to check out Lucha Underground if you haven't seen it yet. It comes on Wednesday nights on the El Rey Network. They had a match that lasted the entire program this past week called Aztec Warfare, and basically the concept of it was a 20-man battle where competitors come in, every so often, kind of like a Royal Rumble, but instead of being tossed over the top rope to be eliminated, it was only pinfalls and submissions, and I thought that was a bit of a fresh approach to things like that. It was also anything goes, and one thing that really stood out to me in that was that Chavo Guerrero came down with a steel chair, and he started taking people out with a steel chair, and One hit from a steel chair was actually enough to get a pinfall on these people. It made the steel chair seem relevant again. Not like some shows you watch where somebody will get hit, 12 times with a steel chair, still kick out, at an early 2. I just think they're doing a lot of things right. I really like the announce team too of Matt Striker and Vampiro. Conan is there. You have Johnny Mundo, who was John Morrison in WWE. There's talk that soon we could be seeing Alberto Del Rio and Rey Mysterio there. I'm also really enjoying Mil Muertes and Katrina, the gimmick they have going on, which he was actually Judas Macias in TNA for a little bit, came in, had a short-lived feud with Abyss, and I was a fan of his back then, thought he had a really great evil look. He came in with Father James Mitchell, and I thought it was just going to be something great, but it was just really short-lived. But anyway, he is now in Lucha Underground also, and I love the gimmick that he's doing right now. I think it's really cool, really dark. Ready to see some more things from Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling, hoping they can pick up a TV deal. I didn't get to see the deal they did with New Japan Pro Wrestling that Jim Ross and Matt Striker called, but everybody says it's amazing, so I'll have to find a way to check that out at some point. If you guys saw it, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what matches you enjoyed. That's the great thing about this podcast. I want it to be as interactive as possible. This is a new venture for me, and I'm sure there's plenty of room for improvement, but I'll get better as time goes along. We'll talk about more things that you guys enjoy. I'm hoping to have some guest commentators on at some point. I've had a few people reach out to me already, and they've been really receptive to the idea. This first one is just to kind of give you guys an idea of what this podcast is going to be all about. There's all kinds of wrestling-related things we can talk about these days. There's even a new show coming on tonight on WGN America called Wrestling with Death, which is apparently some type of reality show where a real-life family of morticians in their spare time are professional wrestlers. I don't know. Sounds kind of hokey. I'm going to watch the first episode anyway just to give it a chance. I'll let you guys know how that turns out in the next episode. The plan now is to drop one of these podcasts every week, so stay tuned to the YouTube channel and definitely visit our official Facebook page, which is www.facebook.com/theprowrestlingpodcast. That'll be your go-to source for news, and when new episodes release, they'll be posted on there as well. Also, definitely click that subscribe button down there if you enjoy what we're doing here. If you really enjoy what we're doing here, there's a link to a PayPal donate page in the About section that you can click on. The podcast will always be free, but any support is greatly appreciated and helps fund this thing. So I'm going to leave you guys today with my recommendation for the match of the week that you can watch on the WWE Network if you have it. And don't worry, my friends in the UK, you'll be able to watch it Monday. My match for this week is Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania 25. Quite possibly one of the best matches that has ever been performed in a wrestling ring. The psychology in that match cannot be touched. As your podcast host, I believe I should fully disclose to you the fact that Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler. Got to see him work Ric Flair's retirement match in Orlando at WrestleMania 24, and that was an amazing moment. The next night on Raw was even greater with the Ric Flair retirement speech and just the way that all the guys came out and just really gave him a really great send-off. So, yeah, anytime I get a chance to watch Shawn Michaels wrestle, I'm all for that. So check out WrestleMania 25 on WWE Network. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker was the first of the two matches they had at WrestleMania. And it's just a phenomenal match. Shawn set the bar very, very high for all the streak matches that would follow after that. And there's a question I'll leave you with. Do you guys think The Undertaker will be back this year at WrestleMania? There's been rumors that if he is, he could be facing Bray Wyatt. If he can come back, do you want him to now that the streak's over? Do you think there's any purpose left? He certainly has nothing left to prove. Drop some comments and let me know what you think about it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the debut episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast with Lee Burt as much as I have. It's definitely a learning experience, and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. So hopefully you guys will tune back in. Have a great week, everybody.